this presence that I really can't describe to nobody. But I just felt like I was safe, like I was loved by this presence, like I was okay.
So with that, let's talk about the moment that you had with the divine. A
Mm,
moment, it could be moments, whatever you want to disclose that has left an impression from you, like you will never forget.
that is a great question. Do you know that actually happened right before I went to the church? So y'all, this is why nobody will ever tell me that the supernatural divine realm is not real. I just messed up when I became a part of religion. So when I was a young woman in my early 20s, I got introduced at a very early age to drinking. I have a lot of alcoholism in my family. My father, my uncles, they all were alcoholics. And so many of us, my siblings, my cousins, we all were just heavy drinkers. And so I was introduced to drinking at a very early age. I was introduced to smoking cigarettes at an early age. I was introduced to smoking marijuana and even crack a little bit at an early age. And so I found myself by the time I was 19, 20, heavily addicted to alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, very depressed. And in those days, I grew up in the South. So in those days, nobody talked about depression, mental health. You didn't go to a therapist. I didn't know that existed. So I battled a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, suicide ideations, addictions, um, perversion with men. You know, as a young teenager with old men all over my body, with their hands all over my body, because I had daddy issues. And so when I had my son, I remember he was about 2, 3 months old. And at that point I was married to someone that I really shouldn't have been married to, but no disrespect to him because he's a nice man. We're cool.
Okay.
But I remember one night just being in a very dark place. I don't know if y'all can relate, but I was in a dark place mentally. I mean, to the point that I really could have ended my life that night and I wouldn't have cared. And I looked at my 2 month old son and I was like, he needs me, but I just don't know if I can do this anymore. And it was in that moment I was sitting in my bedroom on the floor crying, just in a fetal position, and I felt this presence come over me. This presence that I really can't describe to nobody, but I just felt like I was safe, like I was loved by this presence, like I was okay.
Mm.
And at that point, I started reading the Bible, and the Bible's okay. It's just religion is what's effed up.
Mhm.
And I supernaturally got myself off of alcohol that night. That night. And
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with alcohol, but I was addicted to it, y'all.
Right.
I got myself off of 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Mm.
I got myself off of the drugs and healed my
Right.
mental depression. That is my most profound experience with the presence of the divine. And so even though I ended up going into the church and a lot of that experience got lost in the shuffle of toxic religion, I'm never going to discredit that experience with the presence of the divine because that was supernatural. That was real. And nobody will ever tell me that it wasn't real. And that's why I've come kind of full circle back to that moment. And so, what I'm trying to tell people is whether you're in religion or whether you're in the spiritual community, don't get so absorbed in any of those spaces that you don't connect yourself to this divine intelligence, this force, this presence, this power that's everywhere. If you just allow yourself to connect to it, you can and you will. It's not a man, it's not a person, it's not a human. It's just a presence. It's a spark. It's a
Yes.
fire, and it will consume you, and it will change you, and it will reveal mysteries to you. It'll chart a path for you that no human will ever be able to interfere with if you trust it. So that's my most profound moment with the divine.
Wow.